being a spokesperson just comes with a job. If you're an elected official, if you're the mayor or you're the governor, that now de facto becomes one of your responsibilities. You have to be able to be a communicator during an emergency, and if you do it well, you might get it reelected, and if you do it poorly, you're probably going to damage your reelection chances. So that just comes with the territory. The other thing is that you're always trying to look for present the person who has the most information on a particular subject, and so therefore he or she is going to be a very credible source. So if you're talking about bridges or roads or infrastructure like that, you want to get somebody who's with the Department of Transportation who knows these things because he or she is a subject matter expert in that particular area. They may not necessarily be the best, most articulate spokesperson, but they're going to have the best information. And so whether you're talking about somebody who works for the Weather Service, who's a meteorologist, who's an expert on weather, or somebody from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center who may not be, Joe Anchorman or anything like that, but he or she has got very detailed information on seismic waves or what the effects can be of a tsunami, you want to put that particular person forward. And hopefully you will have had opportunities to work with that person ahead of time so that they know what to expect and they can be a better presenter to the audience. But for me, I'm always looking for somebody who is a subject matter expert in his or her field. And the other thing too, that if you have a chance to work with people in advance, you can then work on the nonverbal cues that are also important too, because whether audiences pick up on it either consciously or subconsciously, they do pick up on things like body language and mannerisms, and whether or not an individual is sweating profusely or whether or not he or she looks really, really cool and they're shaking under fire. Those kinds of things, to me, they're not as important as the information is, but they're almost as important. If the audience is not going to listen to your message if they are tuned out by the presentation. So that is absolutely correct. If you are first capturing their attention because of your nonverbal cues and actions, then they could be more predisposed to actually listening to the information that you're trying to impart to them. Instead of broadcasting, when I was in college and when I first started working in the industry, we really have kind of started, we're really into a realm where we're narrowcasting. And we're having targeted messages to, very segmented audiences. And there really is no such thing as having a collective media experience like we had, once upon a time, seeing somebody land on the moon and having everybody on planet Earth watching basically the same feed. It might have been a slightly different network, but sharing that same experience collectively is something that's never, or I shouldn't say never, but probably won't ever happen. Your audiences really are segmented. And that's actually one of the challenges that we have nowadays is how are you able to impart accurate information to everyone when some segments of the population are residing in these virtual bubbles where the information may not be accurate, but it's their trusted source for information. And so we have to be cognizant of the information environment that we're in now. Sometimes I refer to it as like the media battle space, and how you trying to shape the battle space even before the fight begins, if you will. And I'm using, obviously, metaphorically speaking here. But yeah, that's something that we really have to be very cognizant of, is how the battle space is so different nowadays. And where are we going to put our energies? You know, if somebody has bad information over in this particular area, do we engage with that, you know, that entity that's putting out that information? And the answer is maybe, maybe not. I mean, we have to make judgments in real time based upon what information, what's the competing information.